We usually treat religion as something ancient, sacred, and untouchable. But what would happen if we did not treat the Creator as a mystery, but as a standard scientific proposition, like a science experiment, a hypothesis that can be audited against the evidence? Can praying for someone actually cure their illness?
Let this spotty ladybug rise and walk again.
In a massive double-blind experiment funded by the Templeton Foundation, researchers spent $2.4 million to test the medical efficacy of intercessory prayer. The study monitored 1,802 patients undergoing coronary bypass surgery across 6 different hospitals. The patients were strictly randomized into 3 groups. One group received prayers without knowing it, a second control group received no prayers and didn't know it, and a third received prayers and were explicitly told about it. Far away in Minnesota and Missouri, church congregations were given the first name and initial of a patient.
Lord, bless Johnny's bypass surgery.
And may his recovery be quick enough for the church potluck.
And Lord, protect Johnny from all complications, whichever Johnny you know that we are talking about.
And instructed to pray for a successful surgery and a quick recovery. The results of the experiment were incredibly clear and somewhat ironic. There was absolutely no difference in the health outcomes between the group that was secretly prayed for and the group that received no prayers at all. However, the patients in the third group, the ones who actually knew they were being prayed for, suffered significantly more medical complications than the others. The researchers concluded that knowing a prayer team had been called in likely caused these patients to experience performance anxiety, stressing them out and actively harming their recovery. So if clinical audit shows that divine intervention doesn't hold up in a modern hospital, why is the instinct to pray to a supernatural power so universal? If these creator figures aren't pulling the strings, how do they even get invented? And we don't even need to dig through ancient, untraceable history to find out. We just have to look at mid-20th century. Imagine living on a remote Pacific island where you have never seen manufactured goods until suddenly, strangers arrived bearing miraculous treasures. During the 19th and 20th centuries, the people of Melanesia of New Guinea watched as white administrators and soldiers received ships and planes full of wonderful cargo. The islanders noticed that these foreigners never really manufactured any of these items themselves because the white men only seemed to march or shuffle papers behind desks instead of doing any recognizable work. The locals concluded that the cargo must be of supernatural origin, and to persuade the gods to send them the cargo instead, the islanders started mimicking the behavior of the foreigners, building tall masts with wires attached to them and marching up and down in identical clothes. On the island of Tanna, a specific messianic cult started forming around a mysterious figure named John Frum.
19 years. It was arguably an awfully long time to wait for John Frum's promised cargo to finally materialize.
He prophesied a great cataclysm where mountains would fall, the white men would be expelled, and abundant cargo would be delivered to the islanders. In the 1940s, as American troops arrived, the excitement peaked and the locals cleared the jungle just to build an airstrip to welcome John Frum's airplane. They constructed bamboo control towers, carved dummy headphones out of wood, and even built life-size decoy planes to lure the cargo down from the sky. Decades later, when they were asked why they were still waiting for John Frum after so many years, one devotee perfectly captured the resilience of faith, noting that if Christians can wait for 2,000 years for Jesus to come back, he could easily wait 19 years for John. Now, there's another story. Bear with me. There's a famous argument that says the spontaneous origin of complex life is as statistically unlikely as a hurricane sweeping through a scrapyard and randomly assembling a fully functioning Boeing 747. Many people use this analogy to argue that complex creatures like humans and animals could not have come about by chance, and therefore they must have been deliberately designed. But this argument completely misunderstands how evolution works. Imagine a soaring majestic peak called Mount Improbable. One side of this mountain is a sheer vertical cliff, representing the absolute impossibility of a complex organ, like an eye, spontaneously assembling itself by pure chance in a single leap. If you only look at the cliff face, the creation of such complexity seems to require a miraculous designer. But if you walk around to the back of Mount Probable, you'll find a gentle, gradual slope leading all the way to the summit. Evolution does not leap up the precipice. Instead, it slowly creeps up the gentle slope through the cumulative process of natural selection. By breaking the extreme improbability of life into manageable, slightly improbable pieces, over millions of years, natural selection provides a stunningly elegant solution to the impossible leap of chance entirely.